You know why we're here. It's time for Boost, Booze, and Barbecue. And welcome to Boost, Booze, and Barbecue once again. Coy, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Hot, mostly.
Well, yeah, it's been a hot day.
It's been brutal. I mean, it's been almost 80, but
80, woo.
For me in this climate zone.
It was a little humid, too.
Yeah, no, it sucked.
Let me tell you something. It was swampy in our house yesterday, dude. We did 50 pounds of pickled asparagus.
So you were running the stove on a high.
Actually, my wife was. I was not doing it.
But I mean, you were in the room that was happening
in close proximity. Yeah,
even worse.
yeah. No, it was great though. And hey, man, we wrapped up the day with grilling a couple of the pork chop tomahawks that we got from the butcher. Tasty, delicious. You know how the best meat is the stuff right next to the bone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, so these pork chop tomahawks, it's like bone wraps around them, you know?
Yeah.
And then you've got that tender eye of round right in the center. It's delicious.
Yeah, you just want to punch it out with your finger and yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Little smoke and char, you know, cooking it on that little acorn grill that we have.
Yeah.
I've got a friend that wants that. As a matter of fact, it's Ryan over at Clutch Cake Radio. I'm really hesitant to get rid of it, though, because that is such a great little grill.
Those are great little grills. I actually went and looked at the, big green egg and all that. They're just so expensive.
I know, dude. I've brought that small one over to your house, though, before, and
those little
light
porcelain,
that thing quick. And
little porcelain grills. I don't. What are those called? They have a special name.
Yeah, I don't. They're just the egg, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like kibas or
Kamado.
Yeah.
That's a different brand, though. So I don't know.
A brand. I thought that was actually the style.
Oh, maybe it is. I don't know. Kind of looks like a tandoor oven to me, but you know.
Han Solo got frozen in one of those, huh?
I wouldn't know. I've never seen the movies.
Yeah. No, those are great little grills, and I would love to add one to my collection.
Yeah, you should. You should. They're a lot of fun. I think probably, come November, December, there's going to be a lot of them on clearance, and we'll probably get you one.
Yeah.
Last year, and boy, I'm kicking myself for this. Let me tell you something. As a matter of fact, it wasn't last year. It was January of this year. The Wilco Farms here in town, they had an icon. Icon or Vision. I can't remember now. But one of the big, like you were saying, the ceramic ones, $1,200, $1,300. All of the accessories. It's a floor model.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they're not going to sell it. Nobody's going to spend $1,200 on a grill like that. They marked that thing down to $399 on clearance. And I just told my wife, we need to snap this thing up. That is a ridiculous deal. Like if I just stick it in the corner of my shop with a tarp over it and sit on it, I can sell it for $1,000 this summer. No, we don't have the money. So I didn't do it, that might be one of my biggest regrets.
If you get through life, one of your biggest regrets is not buying an icon, purple egg.
Yeah.
Doing all right.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of regrets, happy Mother's Day.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though I haven't poured anything yet. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't poured anything yet.
You're not my mother. Let's start off with this Oak-Art.
You want to?
Bacardi. Yeah. We'll start off sweet last. I've had this before. Obviously, you have. It's half bottle here.
I think half a bottle's being generous. Please, thank you.
I like this rum a lot.
I do too. It's a flavored rum, so it's not like the highest quality rum in the world or anything like that, but it's a pretty easy sipper. And I think it's pretty approachable for people who don't know rum or like rum because it's not quite Malibu coconut.
Yeah.
But it's also not 23 years Zaya.
Yeah. No, it's got good flavor. It's a spiced rum that tastes like a spiced rum.
It tastes a little, as the name implies, a little oaky.
Yeah, it's cheap, but I mean, especially if you're mixing it, you want a spice rum to mix with. Just buy the cheap stuff.
It kind of reminds me of a sugar cookie.
Really?
Yeah. Have you ever had those sugar cookies where they're kind of heavy on the brown sugar?
Yeah. See, it reminds me of more like a Starbucks coffee. I'm not sure which one.
Yeah, one of the Frappuccino ones.
Yeah, one of the sweet kind of has that flavor going on.
Like a Starbucks milkshake.
Yeah, like a frappuccino shake. Frappuccino shake.
I'm with you.
Hint of smoke from charred. That's what it says on the bottle. I don't know if they actually put it in a charred barrel or if they flavor it like a charred barrel. But
you know, what's funny is they can get really creative with the flavors. There's actually extracts of like charred barrel, and it's a super fine powder, and you just pour it into your beer or your wine or whatever, and it gives it that oaked flavor without actually any of the benefits of oaking it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying.
I mean, you know, I understand that cookies and cream ice cream tastes good, and it's all not natural flavor. It's like they're probably not even name brand Oreos that they're crushing in it.
Okay, but I mean, cookie, that's pretty wide.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I understand that while the taste of cookies and cream I'm fine with, I don't need an aged version of homemade Oreos. Sometimes the just blatant flavor addings can just get ugh.
Well, and I'll tell you what,
fine.
We have Chef Roberto Rose in the comments right now. Roberto, if you're still here, let us know what your favorite type of rum is. I'm pretty curious because he's got some real fancy restaurants, like so fancy that they use the appropriate stemware depending on what wine you order.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like more than one fork for different things, stuff like that.
Come on, let's not be ridiculous.
Multiple silverwares.
The kind of forks that I love the most.
The silverware is made out of silver.
Yeah. There is one best kind of fork for a restaurant, and it's those crazy thin ones that have the two lines stamped on the handles. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Exactly what you're talking about.
I've got a couple of those in my drawer right now. Those are my favorite forks.
See, I like the spoons, the perfectly round soup spoon.
Oh, yes, the chowder spoons.
Yes, chowder spoons.
Yes.
Dude, I've allegedly taken some of those from buffets.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And if it's at a casino and you're spending money there anyways, like, you know, it's fair. That's not stealing.
You've already lost, because how much are those worth? 25 cents a piece? And you've lost $20
and they're
on the
not
machines?
new. You know what I mean? This is a used spoon.
Exactly.
So there's definitely the price has been dropped from being used.
If it's a nice casino,
it's off the lot.
Well, you could actually tell people this is the very spoon that's been used by, I don't know, Leonard Nimoy. You just pick somebody, pick a celebrity.
Yeah, but
don't go too high. Don't go like Chris Hemsworth, but go, this was used by Madonna, but not recently.
Yeah. Yeah, Magnum PI.
Yeah.
Not when he was in Magnum PI, but I mean.
Oh, go with a celebrity that's recently passed away, like Little Richard. Boom, bust out that spoon. Been holding on to this because, I didn't want to disrespect Little Richard's name, but now honestly, that he's passed.
Chances are you can Google a picture of him with a chowder spoon.
That's what I'm talking about.
You know what I mean? You'd be like, yeah, boom, right here. I saw him put it down. I dove across the table.
And how old was he? 87, right?
Yeah, old.
So, dude, you could put your own, you could scribble his name like it's an autograph, right? Mm-hmm. How are they going to debunk that? He's old. He's got Parkinson's. Obviously, it's not going to match when he was signing stuff when he was 30.
That is one thing when you watch these shows and they're like, yeah, nope, that signature doesn't match. It's not the right one. He did something different here. It's like, if I sat down and tried to write 3 signatures exactly the same, they'd all be different.
Hold that right there, Nick, producer Nick. Roberto Rose, Zaya, nice. Pirate, we've had that before. And, of course, Bacardi, you need something low end. That Pirate is really good stuff. I've bought that for you before. It's that kind of flat, squatty bottle that, necks down.
Yeah. It's a Patron-looking bottle.
Exactly. You know what another rum is that I like? Sorry, getting off. We're doing a lot of topics here. But that Far Harbor grog that tastes just like root beer, but it's 50%.
I feel like that's like a stretch to call that rum. Yeah. I'm not sure. Like grog that is crazy. Yeah, that's was it sassafras or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but dude, it is so good.
Yeah, that's like standing around the campfire, passing around, and then everybody just falling like dominoes. Good.
Yeah, pass it around until you pass out.
Yeah, that's scary good, and just straight out of the bottle. Just pass it around.
The craziest part about that for me is, and I never mix I don't do half and half drinks unless it's like coffee, but if you did half soda water or Sprite or something and half that so that you feel like you're drinking a root beer, that's still 25% alcohol.
Yeah.
25%. If anything's going to get rid of COVID, it's going to be that stuff.
I mean, you left a half bottle of that at my house, and I'd just grab it, take a pull off of it. Like before dinner.
You're welcome.
No, that stuff was delicious.
I'll tell you what, though, the hangover off of that stuff, ooh.
The one thing I never did, which I should have done, is went for a root beer float with that.
Oh, yes. What a missed opportunity. What a missed opportunity. Well, Roberto, thank you for sharing that with us. The Zaya, you've had Zaya before. I've had it here in the house. That's a terrific rum. One of the, I shouldn't say underrated, but not one that we talk about often, and I really feel like I should bring it in the house more often, is the Vivacity traditional rum, made in a traditional Dominican style. It's very, very good. Logan Smith has a question for us real quick. Neighbors are blasting terrible music. Sorry, I got to squint here. Terrible music in the courtyard at 2200. He's trying to get his paramedic degree, so now he's using military time. What is that? 10 o'clock? 2200?
Yeah.
10 p.m.
Minus 12.
I got 3 things I want to do. 1, yell out my window at them. 2, call in a noise complaint and have the PD not do anything about it. Buy my own sound system. 3, and put on some loud music at 5 a.m. when I get up to wake them up. Well, so there's problems with each of these, Logan. First of all, you could yell at them. That is going to do absolutely nothing. And please feel free to debunk this, Coy. 2, don't call a noise complaint. Come on. You know, that's just not. If they were shooting guns or something, I could see that.
You call in noise complaints if they're setting off fireworks in September.
If they're stomping on a puppy and it's too loud for you to sleep, that's when you call in a noise
complaint. Calling the cops for noise is borderline evil.
Number 3, though, if you know where they live, that's the ticket. They have to be like your neighbor across from a wall, because then you just take your big sound system and you set it against the wall and turn it on, then leave.
See, and I don't go with the turn it up too loud. I'm just saying, like, Google a Christmas music station and just hold it against the wall and then go. Like, annoying is much worse than loud.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Also, if you have to call the cops, don't call noise. Just call and said you saw somebody smoking meth over there. Like, if you're going to call the cops, you know, call in something way worse than what's going on, so the cops come in hard and then kind of scares everybody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Much like allegedly had happened to us, hypothetically, when Coy had what he affectionately dubbed the rape scream. And we would never, ever do this in public. But if we did, here's exactly how it would play out. Coy would make that scream, and then we'd laugh, and we'd stand on the top of this parkade that we were parked in, and 2 cop cars would come screaming into the parkade, and then 2 more would scream in and block the entrance off. And then Coy and I would get very, very scared and start vaulting down staircases.
We did parkour before parkour was a thing.
If this was a thing that happened.
And, you know, and the main thing I've noticed, you can scream like someone who's being raped, and it's fine. Other people will scream back, and it's funny. But if your friend that's standing there then screams, "Help, he's raping me," then the cops come usually pretty quickly.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know about nowadays.
Key point.
But back then, had someone done that, I think that the cops would have gotten there very quickly.
Yes. If somebody screamed, "Help, he's raping me," after you'd been in a screaming match for a while, then the cops come and they get really serious.
Yeah, real serious.
And then you have to run. I mean, not me personally, but if you did this, you would have to run.
I have a feeling, Coy, you and I would not have stuck around to find out what happens.
If I had done it, no, I would have ran.
Yeah, exactly.
I definitely would have ran down like 3 flights, and then when I got 2 from the bottom, I would have jumped onto the plastic lid of a dumpster.
Yes, yeah. And then shoulder rolled onto the sidewalk?
It wasn't much allegedly it wouldn't be a shoulder roll. It'd be more like a groan of pain and then run down kind of an alley thing. But, yeah.
I'm with you.
And then immediately try and blend into a crowd.
This is allegedly what we would do should something like that happen. Yeah. By the way, we had a comment. I'm sorry I didn't see who it was from, but somebody said root beer float with peanut butter whiskey. I'm kind of digging that idea.
I'm curious. Do we just do ice cream and then 9.5 shots of peanut butter whiskey, or do you add the peanut butter whiskey to the root beer? Because I can see this being like, I mean, I don't know how many. 4 ounces of peanut butter whiskey with some ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's quite a bit.
Well, so it is a root beer grog. By the way, they can't call it grog because grogging is when you put water into a rum barrel and you swirl it around and you get a little bit of that out. It ain't going to be, 50% alcohol.
Yeah, no, I don't know what you'd call it. But I mean, are you talking about the peanut butter whiskey or the sassafras?
Well, both.
Either or.
Yeah. So here's the thing. You make your root beer, right, from doing half seltzer and half Far Harbor grog. Am I saying that right? Far Harbor? I know Far Harbor is a DLC for Fallout 4, so I think I might be screwing that up, but it's something like that.
Either way, it would be awesome.
Gig Harbor, not Far Harbor.
Is it Gig Harbor?
I think it's Gig Harbor, yeah, because it's made north
in Gig Harbor in Washington.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So what I'm talking about here is half Gig Harbor grog, half seltzer water. That's your root beer. Okay. And then you put your ice cream in it, and then you take some Skrewball peanut butter whiskey, and you pour a little bit of that over the top just as a finisher.
Yeah, I feel like that's too much going on.
Too much?
I'm going to pass. I'm just going to go straight straight grog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, you almost said it too.
Yeah. Now, with the peanut butter whiskey, I'm making a milkshake out of this. I'm not doing a float. I'm going to throw the vanilla ice cream and a couple ice cubes in a blender, touch of milk, and then I'm going to go by eye. I'm just going to do like a glug, 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 glug.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to hit Liquify and blend that junk up.
Coy's just going to do one shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let it swirl down. Yeah.
You know, it's like how I measure the torque on my lug nuts.
Mm-hmm.
4 Uggas.
Yeah.
Same with my how I pour a shot.
Yeah. 4 glug-a-lugs.
4 glug-a-lugs.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, and don't forget the ice cream. Yeah, you're right. Let's see here. Logan says, couldn't even tell you where they are. Yeah, see, that's the problem. That's the problem. If you're going to call, you got to call on them and you got to kind of allegedly make something up, although I would not recommend it.
Turns out the anonymous tip.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really understand the anonymous tip, how that works, because can't they just look down and see the phone number?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But then they're like, yeah, we got an anonymous tip and the body was definitely on that person's property.
Right.
Which I just heard one of those today. They're like, yeah, no, the lady didn't kill him. But they definitely found his body on her property. And I'm like, what do you mean she didn't kill him? They're like, oh, it was a suicide. And I'm like, so somebody anonymously called on a tip of a body of a suicide? That's not how that works. Like, I need to know this anonymous person. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I'm instantly starting to think, where have I seen payphones? Because, boy, there's not many left.
Yeah, anytime I hear an anonymous tip, I think, like, somebody had dirt on the Clintons. Like,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're going to leave an anonymous tip, you just use a friend's phone.
Oh, yeah,
I think that's just the way it has to be.
Just like, hey, bro, can I borrow your phone for a second? Yeah. Oh, this is nice. This is an Android?
Go to your grandmother's house, who still has a landline for whatever reason. Use that. Mm-hmm. And then when the cops are like, oh, we're going to track this person down, she can just, huh? What?
Now, actually,
you want cookies?
If you're old school, and you can find these things on Craigslist, I'm sure. The old phone techs, when they're hooking up landlines, if you ever see them, they have this belt with a phone in it. And it's got 2 clips, and you open a little box on the outside of the house, click on it, and you can make a phone call and check, see how it works. Mm-hmm. You can get those and just hook up to anyone's house from the outside and make a call.
Ooh, that's a good way to go, too.
Yeah, you can do some cool terroristy stuff. You might get shot when you're sneaking in somebody's backyard to access their phone NID, but
yeah, it's still possible, though. The thing I love about old landlines is they run 40 volts and not very much power. I think it's 650 milliamps, something like that. But technically, it's enough to run a little bit of power to something, if you had like a USB charger or something like that. The downside is they randomly ping these lines. And the ping is enough to where it can zap whatever electronics you have wired into it. So it's a crapshoot. Like
Can you wire a surge protector in and then go?
I'm sure you could, but I think it bumps it up pretty high. I think it bumps it up to like 100 volts. So you'd have to create a circuit that was pretty quick on the draw.
Yeah, see, I feel like I just want to run like a fan on it or something. Yeah. And then it just, one that could handle it, so it just speed up.
Sure. It's amazing, though, that there is any power that runs through those, and the power runs all the time.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it might be a good idea to get one of those little phones just for emergencies or something. Because I know I don't have a house phone here.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways, hey, we're way off in the weeds. Coy's going to finish his rum so that we can move on to this peanut butter whiskey. But I saw an interesting article. Someone, and everybody knows Lewis Hamilton, right?
Yeah.
F1 driver, 6-time champion. He's probably one of the, if not the best driver of our era. I mean, I've made it no secret that I don't like his attitude. He's kind of a douchebag, but he is undeniably good behind the wheel of a race car. That is just the fact of the matter, right? So recently it came out that he has no intention of doing any sim racing. He doesn't believe that it adds anything as a driver. He feels that all it does is confuse you because you have to turn off the part of your brain that wants physical sensation, right? And so he just, he doesn't believe in it at all. He doesn't want to participate in it at all, and believes that high-end drivers shouldn't be doing it because it actually dulls their senses. Now, this comes hot on the heels of Sebastian Vettel getting himself a sim rig. And I have a theory.
What's that?
I think Lewis Hamilton doesn't want to risk losing in the virtual world to anybody.
Well, I'm sure he doesn't want to risk losing in any world. I mean,
no, that's understandable, but the fact is, he's not even willing to do it just for funsies, because he doesn't want anybody to be able to say anything about you once lost to this person, whether it's in real life or in sim racing.
Yeah, but if you're the best, I kind of get where it's coming from on that.
Sure.
I mean, there's nothing, since this isn't for real points, what's the game? So you could win, nothing, or you could lose and have people talk smack about you. It's a lose-lose.
Yeah, it kind of is, but can't you, like, shouldn't there be a moment where you kind of get outside of yourself and just do it because the fans want to see something?
Yes, but if you're one of these guys, like, I don't do sim racing at all.
Sure.
I'm not a fan of it. It doesn't jive with me. And if I'm playing video games, I want to be on a third planet in a distant solar system, just slaying monsters. Like, I want to be as far away from reality as it can be.
Right.
More or less. Whereas sim racing's like trying to be reality, but it's not close enough to trick me into thinking it's, I don't enjoy it like I enjoy racing, because it's just not, I know it's not real. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And if you're kind of have that same mindset, and it's a lose-lose for you, like, I would still jump in and do it, because if I get beat, it's expected. Like, so what? Mm-hmm. But if I was a pro racer and that kind of wasn't my thing anyways, I wasn't into it, I don't know that I would do it either.
Wow. Okay.
Just throwing that out there.
All right.
That being said, I do agree he's a huge douche.
Well, yeah, that part's kind of
I'm not trying to defend that part of him, but I can, if that's his thought process, I can see how I would go through that process myself.
Well, I mean, listen, he opened a racing museum to himself. And this was like 4 years ago.
I don't know. Is that the douchiest thing ever?
It's probably not the douchiest thing ever, but man, it's up there.
Well, think about this. Maybe, all these museums like that, they get opened after you're dead, and the price of all the cars that you used to drive are exponentially more expensive. He's getting the cars while they're still cheap, and he's alive. He can enjoy it, Yeah,
but normally people have their own private collection. They don't charge other people. Like, you don't narrate your own autobiography that talks about how big your penis is. That's all I'm saying.
But if you were to, like, you can't argue with it,
Yeah. Okay, here's the bottom line. It's not the douchiest thing I've ever heard of. I just don't remember what the douchiest thing is. Okay? Is that fair?
You fought tougher men, you just don't remember when?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, gotcha. No, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Everything just revolves around. And look, you're world champion. You're the defending champion. Pretty much everyone goes into the race knowing that you are going to win. You get pole position, and you stay in the lead. And that's frankly why people just aren't watching F1 very much anymore, is because it's not fun to watch, because the same people just win all of the time, every time, right? So I understand that. I don't know. I just feel like you'd want to give your fans a little something. Not that he's beholden to the fans. That's not what I'm saying. I guess I just feel like if I were in his shoes, there would be a little bit of an expectation that you do some fanfare.
Yeah, if you're going to have your own museum, you better show up to it a lot.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like it's not something charged. Like, you need to show up and say, hey, guys, thanks for coming to my museum. Here I am. Like, It's got to be a lot of that.
So, World of Speed. I know Ron Hughley's not like some huge racer. He has raced in the past, but he's the curator of World of Speed. He's there all the time, walking around. I've talked to him multiple times. Good dude. I mean, listen, he's usually busy doing something, but he's there, and he's shaking hands, and he's saying hi to everybody. And he runs the World of Speed Museum.
I think that if you're a curator of a museum, you have to just be there like all the time, even at night and stuff.
Yeah, well, Lewis Hamilton's curating his own collection.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not defending his insane douchiness.
Okay, fair.
Like,
speaking of spending the night there, if they make a Night at the Museum 5 or whatever we're on now, it needs to be in a race car museum. That would have all of my attention. The Andy Granatelli poster comes to life.
They're just a bunch of Italian guys just screaming at you in Italian. You're like, I don't know what you're saying.
There's a life-size Mario Andretti. He's about that tall.
So real life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 7.5 inches. There's a lot of people where it's like, well, I thought he'd be taller. Mario Andretti, after like seeing him in real life, thought he'd be a lot taller.
Well, he's kind of larger than life, but smaller than a 12-year-old.
Yeah, no, he is not to scale.
No, he's about 3/4 scale.
Yeah. He's a 1/4 scale. Like those drag racers for kids.
Yeah. The quarter midgets.
Yeah.
I get where you're going with that.
I wasn't going to say midget. I was trying to,
So what do you think of this peanut butter whiskey?
It is way too sweet, but it is awesome.
Yeah, it's too sweet. It tastes like, instead of tasting just pure peanut butter to me, it reminds me of like a peanut butter pie.
Yeah, it's super sweet, but strong peanut butter and hardly any whiskey taste.
It smells...
What proof is this?
35.
35, so I mean, that's kind of...
Or 70, excuse me, but yeah, 35%.
Yeah.
It kind of, I get the smell of graham cracker.
Yeah. No, it smells amazing. And to be fair, before the show started, I tasted it just on the tip of my tongue. And I was like, this would be great with like a whole milk or some cream. So I got some cream and put it in there. And I was right. It was super delicious.
That was extraordinarily good. It made me hope that Marcotte, whose glasses we're drinking out of, thank you, Joe and Janelle, I'm hoping that they work on a peanut butter cream.
I would dig that.
Oh, yeah. Dig that hard. And you know what? This peanut butter whiskey, quite good in coffee, surprisingly.
I don't feel like that's surprising.
Oh, maybe I was just surprised by it, because I don't normally think about putting peanut butter in my coffee.
I think about putting whiskey in my coffee, though, and this is sweet. Yes. Putting whiskey in the coffee is a good way to go, yeah. Yeah. Breakfast of champions.
That's right. Over some cornflakes. Coy, you wanted to talk a little bit about roundabouts.
Yeah, we're talking about roundabouts, and we're all just kind of like, where are we at with these,
Right, and why are they so hated in the United States?
Well, there's a lot of reasons to hate them, to be fair. Because a lot of the roundabouts that I feel like I experienced when I was younger were single lane micro roundabouts that were just like wildly inconvenient four ways. Whereas a lot of them now are these big multi-lane ones, and I'm starting to like them. And they're fun to drive around.
They're quicker to get around, provided everybody is using them the way that they're meant to be used, Here's
what I have found personally. They're faster under like a medium traffic load. When you have like one lane like, one direction of it that is being used like 90% of the traffic, and you come from another side and it's just a constant stream and then you're kind of screwed. You gotta wait for a gap and there is no gap.
Yeah.
So that part I don't like. Like if it's super busy, then I just want a smart signal, when the lane that hardly ever gets used finally has a car pull up, it'll go ahead and switch, but then just stays green for the busy side forever.
Mm-hmm.
But there's been some spots where they've switched these out, like in Redmond and Sisters over here, where they were quite busy intersections that backed up through town, and they actually made it better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not like amazingly better, but it's better.
There are places with real low traffic, like there's one in Corvallis, kind of between Corvallis and Philomath, where super low traffic. It's very rare that you stop at that. Mm-hmm. But you know what there always is? Always at that roundabout?
Burnout marks.
Yeah, tire skids going all the way around.
Dang kids, skid racing.
Yeah, I remember when they put that one in, someone actually posted in, I don't remember what the group was. It was one of the Corvallis groups. Someone posted, "Hey, City of Corvallis, thanks for the new drift track." A lot of hate, but it's kind of true.
That's totally true. I actually, this winter, was working right next to a roundabout, and it was kind of that trying to snow day, but not really, and it hailed real hard. Within 4 minutes, an FRS that's all done up, with like a, what's it called, the XO wing, Mm-hmm. That's not the right term, but he comes up and he's just getting it in a circle, and I'm standing there, hard hat and vest, and I just turn around and start pumping my fist. Yeah, and I'm like doing the circle one more time, So, and then, of course, there's like Dodge dualies and stuff just showing up randomly, like, oh, turning circle, whoa, rolling coal and getting through it sideways. So it's like, I love working near them. There's always somebody going around the sideways.
Right, exactly.
And I would say more often than not a sports car.
Right.
Yeah, if it's wet or hailed or snow or anything, there are sports cars that do it, but theirs is as many lifted trucks doing it as there are sports cars.
And I'll tell you, the rare unicorn that you always want to see, but it doesn't happen as often as you want it to.
FedEx truck.
Well, yes, but also that car going straight through the middle and just catching crazy air, baby.
Just smashing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, secretly deep down, we're all praying for a massive wreck. But I mean, when aren't you?
Yeah. Well, secretly, I kind of want to see like a huge lifted truck go through that and just be fine on the other side. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we always want a wreck.
Yes.
Like not us and not really our friends, but on the other hand, if your friend's wreck, you're like, that was awesome. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, are you okay? That was awesome. We've all been there. We've had a friend that just smashes, and you're like, that guardrail fared way better than your car, bro. Yep. But that was awesome. I can't believe I got that on video.
Why didn't Captain Guardrail stick with our buddy Chris? It kind of did. We still call him that once in a while. But it didn't really like stick.
Because he hated it so much, and Handsome Chris was actually a lot more applicable.
Yeah, that's true.
Sadly.
He'll still be Captain Guardrail to the rest of us.
The thing is, he never would have been Captain Guardrail, but he's like, yeah, I was driving to the coast, totally smashed this, swerving to miss a raccoon. We're like, really, dude? You swerved to miss a raccoon and hit the guardrail? I was like, yeah. We're like, no, you didn't. He's like, no, I totally did. We're like, no, you didn't. Nobody would just believe him. Like, all right, Captain Guardrail. And then somebody's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And he's like, I missed it. There was a raccoon. And we're like, yeah, no, there wasn't. You're lying. And maybe there was a raccoon. I don't know. I don't believe it. But
no,
I mean,
I know exactly what happened. He was hunting around for that tiny cell phone. Do you remember there for a little while? And we're talking about maybe 2 years where people were just on the hunt for the smaller and smaller and smaller cell phones. He had this one. It was the size of a Tic Tac box. And he was so proud of that thing.
Smaller than that.
Dude, it was ridiculously small. And I remember it was internet enabled. And so he'd try to like look up movie times, and he'd just be, what's that photo from the TV show Community where Ken Jeong is like holding up that teeny tiny slip of paper, looking at it and squinting at it. That's what he would do. He would just like look at this teeny tiny little phone.
And it was like voice activated. So he'd be like, Nokia, movie times. And he'd be like, butt nuggets. Check it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we tried to find his phone one time because he lost it in his car. And he started screaming, Nokia! Nokia! But the battery was dead. It wouldn't do that. I think he straight up lost that phone, got a different phone. And then when he was getting ready to sell that car and he was cleaning it out, I'm almost positive it got stuck in the vacuum. And he was like, what did I just suck up? And pulls that thing out, and it was that teeny tiny little cell phone.
Yeah, there was a time when there was a phone that was about the size of your thumbnail, but then flipped open. And it was like, that was things people bought.
Yeah.
And they were all web enabled, but you could basically like check movie times. You could download like super simple ringtones, and you would literally like preview them, but it would take like 2.5 minutes to download the preview. And you'd be like, check it out, dude. Yeah, somebody's playing Thunderstruck on the piano, and it's a ringtone, and it'd be like
it's 8-bit.
It's 8 seconds long, the preview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are my favorite, dude. Ding, 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 ding,
This
ding.
sounds vaguely like Twisted Sister.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll tell you what, you couldn't watch porn on it, Coy.
No.
Not at all.
No, that was not a thing then.
Nope. And now, we've got these phones that are basically just, I was going to say small computers, but they're kind of big computers now.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. When are we going to start having cell phones that you can actually run like a console? Because you can't tell me that this doesn't have nearly the same amount of power as like a PS3. It has to.
It probably has more.
Close. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I still play PS3 games once in a while.
I play PS3 games once or twice a week.
So imagine if you could take this, plug it into your TV, have your controller, boom.
I'm sure that's already a thing.
Yeah, but it's probably a thing in Japan. I don't know if we've seen it here.
Where people are smarter than us and don't want to pay $60 for a video game.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. I can't believe the way things have just changed completely. Makes you wonder what kind of cell phones the F1 drivers are using.
Yeah, they probably have other people make calls for them.
I would sure hope.
Yeah. They're just better than us.
Well, yeah. I mean, smarter, quicker, faster.
Yeah, and they're just like,
looking.
yeah, no, I can't have the radio signal that close to my head. You call them for me. Put it on speaker.
Wait. Is that phone 5G enabled? No. Get it away from me.
The Russian F1 drivers now?
Or whoever. I don't know. Listen, Russian and Finnish accents, they're close. It's the speed that changes. So instead of talking like this, they talk a little bit more like, because they're thinking it through, because they don't want to say something mean.
Because they're evil. Oh, I mean, what?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Leave me alone. I know what I am doing. That's the fastest I've ever heard Kimi Räikkönen speak.
Thermonuclear weapon.
Exactly. You can't tell me I'm wrong. Anybody out there listening right now, you can go out and find the speech of any of the like Swedish or Finnish rally drivers. Maybe they talk fast in their native tongue, but when they're speaking English, everything is well thought out.
Car went very well today. Yeah, no, ran the good time. Very happy with the team. Yeah, a lot of that.
That's why I want a Swedish or a Finnish NASCAR driver. I am very happy with the Hardys, Dairy Queen, Tampax, M&M,
and Nestle. I just want them to be like shaking up the champagne. Yeah, just like slowly though. Yeah.
We'll have to put a sensor bar over it.
And like have a bottle opener.
Yeah. He's just sitting there.
Yeah.
For people listening, sorry, I'm taking the bottle and I'm switching it back and forth very slowly.
Yeah, with
more visual.
Lots
gag.
of eye contact, looking back and forth. Yeah, kind of grinning cheerfully,
staring straight at the team owner. Just
do you want some champagne? All of you?
I will give champagne. Are you ready? It is coming soon.
It's very good.
It is about to blow.
Winners get a champagne.
He's just sitting there making eye contact with a half smile and just nodding slowly, like, yes. Are you waiting? It's almost. We're right there.
Yeah.
It is edging. It is close.
Now get on your knees. You'll think this bad neighborhood. Yeah.
My favorite part, by the way, popping the champagne and spraying the crowd. Dan Gurney did that in, what was it, 1967 or 68 at Le Mans. And that was the first time that anybody had ever done it. And they were flabbergasted. The French were just like, what is he doing?
Yeah, it was a massive FU.
Yeah, exactly. It was just
meant to be that way.
Exactly. But it stuck because all the other drivers were like, holy crap, that looks like fun.
Yeah.
How awesome is that?
Well, I think you have to keep, once something like that happens, it's like, oh, why haven't we all been doing this?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, at some point in auto racing, we were doing 27 miles an hour around a dirt track. At some point, somebody won and started doing a big circle burnout in front of the crowd. Mm-hmm. That was another moment where I guarantee it was like a gentleman's race, and there was all leisurely, and then somebody went, wow, that's so rude. So unsportsmanlike. We're all doing burnouts at the end of the race from now on. Like,
yeah. Exactly. You have to, because you find one of those really cool things that's just so incredibly amazing. I would liken it to like cooking ribs. Somebody does it. It's like, no, you can put it over an open fire and cook it real fast. But dude, just hear me out. We wrap that thing up in brown sugar and all these spices, and then you cook it for 10 hours.
Yeah.
Huh? Everything changes.
Yeah, no, it's totally different. Yeah, one way is how a savage does it, and the other way is how a fat American does it.
The cookbooks from like the 1700s, even on into the 1800s, you would be shocked by how many recipes call for boiled everything, anything. Boiled whole chickens, boiled turkeys, like things that we would never dream of doing now. But that's how the rich and wealthy ate it. So you know for a fact, somebody that was rich and wealthy at some point, went down into their slave quarters, and the slaves all attention or whatever they do. I don't know. Whatever slaves do when they get startled by the master. And the master starts whipping people with it. And we're talking about, this is in Europe, okay? I'm not talking about America. And then he realizes they're charring that bird like it's in the fire. Why aren't they boiling it? Oh, yeah, because they don't have any water to drink, more or less, boil a whole bird in. And then he walks over there defiantly and yanks a leg off and eats it. And then he has a moment where he's thinking, oh, no, this is like way, way better.
Yeah.
And the slaves have been doing it.
I have so many thoughts about food
not
that.
Slaves, footmen.
Indentured servants.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Not slaves. It's totally different.
Yeah, completely different.
Indentured servants could possibly go free if you let them. Like, it's not. They're paying you back for something.
If they finish paying you back after 270 years of servitude, then they're free.
Yeah. No. And they don't break anything or, need anything or have to buy clothes or anything that you have to pay for.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they will, they'll be able to retire in 346 years.
Ooh, you just broke the handle on that broom. Yikes. That's another 50 years. Sorry.
Yeah, I have a lot of food that I wonder if that's how it went. But like another one, lobster, was like crazy poor people's slave food. Mm-hmm. And it was disgusting. Like they were eating this gross bug. And then at some point, somebody's like, wow, this is good with butter.
Mm-hmm. What else? Clams or oysters were that way too.
Yep. They're just something easy to get at sea and just, poor people stuff.
Probably a lot of that has to do with supply and demand. Like as they start to get more rare.
There's a part of that. And then I've also just in my lifetime noticed like what was poor people food when I was a kid. At a certain point, those poor people get money and they're like, I remember eating this. This is good. And things kind of make these weird cycles from, like Velveeta cheese is crazy expensive. And that used to be like government cheese.
Right. It used to be 99 cents for the big block.
Yeah. And now it's like expensive cheese. Like that's what all the kids want.
Mm-hmm. Same with Cheese Whiz.
I don't want Cheese Whiz still, but.
No, I know. But like it costs more than I feel like it should.
Agreed. The other one that I always wonder, like raisins.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the first person to eat raisins? It was just some dude like cruising through the woods. And there's wild grapes that just shriveled up on the vine. And he's just like, I'm starving to death. Mm-hmm. I'm eating this bad fruit. And he's like, wow, it's kind of sweet. It's actually not too bad. I'm going to put some of these in my pocket. Like
Ethan D Squad, by the way, says good accent, boss. I'm just going to assume he's talking about me, which I say thank you, my friend. No, you know what? I think it came down to food preservation, though. I would bet you money that they just found a way to preserve grapes, and that's how raisins kind of came to be. It doesn't have to do with the fact that it tastes good.
Figure it out. Thought they were eating rancid raisins. Like they just had to go in on this.
Yeah.
Other things like sauerkraut. The first person to eat sauerkraut didn't think I'm going to save this. They went, I'm eating this anyways.
Yeah,
I'm eating this in spite of.
Yes, not because of, but in spite of.
Yes, like I am not going to die. I will eat this.
Yeah.
And then they're like, this would be good with a dog. Like,
yeah. And then eventually they started making sausages.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, hey, the whole reason why I brought this up, though, is because recently a friend of mine sent me a Facebook Marketplace ad, okay? And, yes, he was talking about me. Thank you, Ethan. He sent me this Facebook. He sent me this Marketplace ad for 1970 240Z. They were calling it a barn find.
I just showed that to someone.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
$18,500?
Yes.
So I'm trying to decide whether or not they have figured out where the market is, or if they're just asking an outrageous price.
They are asking a high price, but have you looked at like early 240Zs?
I have not recently.
They're expensive. I mean,
but running and driving.
Yes, but if you have one with 96,000 miles on it that is in like the interior's intact, like I don't know if that one that you're speaking of really technically classifies as a barn find, but it's been sitting 20 something years. Mm-hmm. Like it's low mileage and it's straight. How do I say this? What they're asking is ridiculous, but like I see how they got there by looking at other ones.
What I don't want to see is somebody actually paying that price, though.
And why this was is because I kind of a year or so ago, I've always kind of had a soft spot for 240Zs, those old Z cars, and I used to race in some autocross stuff with like the super wide bodied ones. This is a thing that there was around here. There was 5 or 6 guys with these crazy built ones, and they look amazing. I mean, just big, huge flares, and I always thought, just an RB motor. I could possibly do RB20, but honestly, RB25, even a 26, like. That is a good, that's kind of it's not period correct, but you're sticking with that inline 6. Mm-hmm. And the sound.
And Nissan.
Yeah, and Nissan, and it sounds right. Mm-hmm. And of course, everybody nowadays is wanting to LS swap everything. But I feel like for that car, that would be cool. And it would fit that car's soul or whatever. And just, fat flares, dump it pretty good. Like, they look so good done right. Mm-hmm. And I was looking, like, maybe I could find one, couple grand. I'm going to put fender flares on it anyways. Has some dings and stuff, not a big deal. And I couldn't find one that was like in any kind of not just rusted bucket for less than $5.
See, the last time I heard about somebody getting a deal on one is actually our friend Ryan Frisbee. He has one that has a red, white, and blue.
That's
theme.
A 280 though, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
you will find 280s for cheap still. 240s, you will not.
Yeah.
I mean, you will find some for cheap, but they will be buckets.
I'm sure part of this as well is the same reason why the Integra Type Rs are starting to go for $60,000, $70,000. It's because people have nostalgia for it, and that's just it. They have a nostalgia for it. So I'm sure you're starting to end up with people who have fond memories of 240Zs, 260Zs, 280Zs, and so them wanting them just drives the price up. I can completely understand that.
There is one sole reason why I want one. The old 240 camel car. It's just this brown, ultra wide body, and I don't even know what race series it raced in back in the day, but it's kind of an iconic. Nick, if you get a chance, look up Nissan 240Z camel race car. Just, I guess technically that'd be a Datsun at that point, but it's
Z, not an X. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it is just a great.
Oh yeah,
Camel GT. There's one that's all brown that I think looks even better, but just
look at how wide those wheels are. That is just ridiculous.
Yeah, no, you can crawl in that wheel and take a nap on that lip. pop back out and let's look at it for some others. There's an all brown one, and they used to use it in advertisements. This dude would be like leaning up against it.
Man, I don't know. There's a lot of different ones on here. Folks listening on the
Paul
podcast
Newman and stuff looking ones.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure anybody listening to our podcast right now knows what these cars look like, but you have got to go out and look at like Coy said, the brown 280Z Camel, or excuse me, 240Z Camel race car. These things are just insane look. And you know what? Such a classic style and design. Classic.
Nick put commercial or advertisement, because it used to run in it was in a lot of magazines, like in the back.
And you're sure it's not just this brown nose one here?
There was an all brown one.
Okay.
Gosh,
yeah, we'll have to find it, link it underneath the episode later on. But the 240Z and the 260Z, just the classic look, Coy. I mean, what can you really say about those that is complimentary enough? You know what I mean?
They're a cool car. Like I said, I've always liked these.
Long hood.
When I was a kid, I used to. There's this lady that I'd do yard work for like 10 miles away from where I lived, and I'd ride my bike over there. Somebody dropped me off, and I'd spend the afternoon doing yard and farm work for her. I was like 14, and her brother-in-law lived in like an apartment there, and he had an old, at the time wasn't as old, but just this kind of clean white 240Z.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'd love that thing. He'd give me a ride home, and I'd always, come on, let's do it. And he'd rail it around the corners. It was just a cool old car.
Okay, I have one more obscure one for you, Nick. I apologize. Look up let's see here, L28 DOHC. So, Coy, you remember the company O.S. Geiken?
Yeah.
They made a double overhead cam head that was a retrofit for the L28 motors, and theoretically the L26s.
OS Geiken made a motor?
No, they just made the head for the motor.
Oh, okay, because they're mostly known for differentials, right?
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this was a million years ago, don't forget. But yeah, look at how crazy that thing's. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Okay, we got to do a little fanfare for the folks listening. Nick, could you pull up a video? Hit YouTube and just put in literally the same thing, and you're going to find a video of it. It's pretty wild. Nope. Sorry, that's not quite. I mean, that's twin turbo. It's cool, but I'm hoping that we can just hear the raw sound of it, because it's ridiculous sounding. Go down, Nick. Okay, there we go. What about the dyno? There we go. Yeah, pull that thing up. I'll give it a little bit of sound so we can see where we're at. Nope, no music. There we go. Go a little bit further. Sitting right at 7,000 RPM.
Float, valve, float.
Listen to that thing just buzz, though.
Is that a rev limiter, or is it just floating there?
No, I think it's a rev limiter.
That's a super smooth sounding rev limiter.
I'm not sure how you can stably float valves right at 7,000 RPM. But hey, making 347 horsepower, that is nothing to sneeze at.
That would be a fun car to drive.
So back out of this video, Nick, and go to the one right below it. It's somebody driving. Mm-hmm.
Fair lady, double overhead cam driving.
It's a little bit potato, but hopefully we get some sound from it. Skip ahead a little bit, would you?
Seems to stay nice.
Yeah, not doing much for us. That's okay. All right. Well, but either way,
hang on, Nick. I got one more thing. Back to what I was talking about. Google Camel GT, where a man belongs. The one in the advertisement, now that I found it, is actually a Porsche, but still, just yes.
Oh, that one.
That's the advertisement I had in my head, but in my head, for some reason, I was thinking it was a Datsun, but it's actually a Porsche. but
Also a classic.
still classic. And same thing, just crazy wide body. And man, smoking was cool back in the day.
Well, these are the healthy cigarettes.
Yeah. This is what you smoked after the gym.
Or during your bike ride.
Yeah. And you smoked while you were racing. Only 8 milligrams of tar.
That's all. Wow.
Camel GT, where a man belongs. Such a good, I mean, this just wide body Porsche, huge wing, rivets everywhere. I should probably know who that is leaning against the car. I hope it's a race car driver, not a male model, but just leaned up against his car, middle of the corner on a track. You can just, and he's just smoking a cigarette, just looking race suit, shoes, everything.
Just oozing awesome.
Yeah, just oozing everything. Yeah.
Even though it's poop brown. Well, actually, oozing might be the correct terminology. Yeah.
No, it's a bad brown, but works on what all's going on there.
Could you imagine trying to make an ad like that nowadays?
Well, look, there's hundreds of them. I mean, Jeeps and all kinds of.
No, what I'm talking about, like right now. How in the world would you make that advertisement right now?
The only way is you'd have to reincarnate like Burt Reynolds and have him do it.
Yeah. Man, I don't know.
Where a man belongs, Andy. Yeah. A man. I'm a man. Yeah, they used to advertise cool racing stuff more in advertisements, you know.
Well, that's back when racing was cool.
Well, I think that's back when cigarettes had money in racing.
There is also that, but there's also specifically the fact that, I mean, you and I both know dudes that are 18, 19, 20 years old, 22 years old, that see no purpose or reason in getting a driver's license. They're just like, no, I'm not going to get a driver's license. First of all, I don't want a car. They're lame and stupid. Second of all, I don't want a driver's license because like I've heard that so many times from people, and it just boggles my mind.
I fully agree with that sentiment. And yeah, there's a surprising amount of people like that. But there was a time back when cigarettes could still advertise. And I mean, and it was a sweet spot because it was when aerodynamics looked good still. And like, don't get me wrong, I understand in F1 the aerodynamics now are superior in every way to when they were in 1996, but they just don't look as good.
Right.
I mean, those Marlboro Indy cars and stuff are some of the best looking Indy cars ever. Yeah,
no, you're right.
And I mean, and they wouldn't be the same without screaming Marlboro across the side or Winston or, you know, there was a time when, like, I mean, cigarettes were huge into racing. Or racing was into cigarettes. I don't know. I mean, the Budweiser rocket cars, like that, there was a bunch of that.
Oh, yeah.
Like beer and cigarette in racing.
And boy, Budweiser, they did all kinds of stuff. The jet boats, all that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Helicopter engine boats and stuff. Yeah. Yeah. There was the, Winston had a couple, I think, NASCARs or something. Like there was a lot of cigarettes in racing.
It's just a really good way to burn through some of your capital gains.
Well, honestly, I mean, yeah, there were some of the best teams. I mean, the Marlboro cars were amazing.
Well, fortunately, Coy, we have one of the best podcasts around right here, and we have some of the best fans of this podcast out there. You know that? It's because they like these, and they share them out. They share these videos out. They share the podcast out. They know that their friends are going to like it, and they're like, yo, you got to check out these two dudes. They are big balling and high rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we want to say about you guys. We have the best fans out there. And quite frankly, I think I have just about the best co-host and the best producer. So you guys, thank you for being here. Coy,
Andy.
Producer Nick, thank you, my friend. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for telling a friend. We do appreciate that. And for Coy and Nick, this is Andy, and we will see you next time.